Every single morning, the moment you wake up, life gives you a quiet offer. It's subtle. Most people miss it. They roll over, they pick up their phone, they scroll through 100 distractions before they take their first breath of intention. And just like that, the energy of the day doesn't belong to theme, it belongs to notifications, to someone else's urgent agenda, to fear disguised as routine. But that moment, that very first moment, is the most powerful window you'll ever have. It's the secret hallway between who you used to be and who you're deciding to become. That moment is the gateway. It either slips by unnoticed, or it becomes the most sacred turning point of your day. Most people think that change starts with a massive action, a one-time shift, a loud resolution that announces something world-changing. But I've learned, and maybe you've started to learn too, that the real changes, the ones that last, begin in silence. They begin inside small decisions consistently made. And there is no moment more foundational than your morning. Not because mornings are magic by default, but because how you live the first part of your day determines the tone of the entire story that follows. If you win that window, you win the momentum. And momentum is everything. So what if instead of rushing out of bed and racing against the clock to meet the pressure of the world, you gave yourself the first part of the day to meet your own soul? What if you protected those first 10 minutes like your entire life depended on it, because, in a way, it does? Think about this. The version of you keep aiming for, the one with clarity, purpose, peace, strength. Confidence is not just built inside huge goals. It's revealed through rhythm. And your daily rhythm begins before the world sees you, before anyone speaks to you, before any performance is required. Who you are when you rise is what echoes into everything that follows. So here's what I do. Here's what I've learned to do every single morning, no matter how tired I am, no matter if the day ahead is exciting or overwhelming, no matter what season of life I'm in. I do this not because I always feel like it, but because I know what's at stake if I don't. I wake up, and for the first few moments I don't touch anything. No phone, no apps, no headlines, no thoughts borrowed from someone else's crisis. I stay still. I breathe. I listen. Sometimes that silence is filled with hope. Sometimes it's filled with heavy thoughts. But I face it either way, because what you don't face will follow you. And I've learned to face myself first thing. After the breath, after the silence comes, the question I ask myself every single day without exception: who do I want to be today? That might sound too simple to change your life. But ask it enough times, answer it enough times, and act on those answers enough times, and you will not recognize your own reflection in a year. You don't build your legacy later. You build it first thing in the morning, in honesty, in awareness, in small promises to yourself that no one hears but you. I used to start my mornings in chaos. I'd wake up late, barely have time to shower, already feel guilty, already feel behind, already feel like I was hustling to catch up to other people. And then I'd wonder why I felt disconnected from myself, why my work lacked passion, why my relationships felt shallow, why I went to bed feeling like I did 100 things but accomplished nothing. But it was all connected. I gave my mornings away. I did not own the beginning of my day, and so I lost the ability to lead it. And when you can't lead your mornings, life starts leading you. In directions you didn't choose, at paces you didn't set, toward outcomes you didn't ask for. So I changed the story, slowly at first. I started by closing the apps. I started by learning to sit with the discomfort of not checking, and eventually the silence that once felt empty started feeling full of clarity, full of rest, full of thought patterns that weren't driven by noise but by truth. And from that space I began to write down thoughts in a journal, not always profound, not always poetic, sometimes just one sentence. But that sentence was mine, not recycled, not reposted, not retweeted, mine, and that changed the script. In the stillness of the morning, without the lens of comparison, without the weight of demand, I could finally see what I needed. Not just practically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. And that kind of vision? No to-do list will give you that. That's soul-level direction. This is where we're going, clarity. And that is what most people are missing, not because it's unavailable, but because they don't guard the space needed to receive it. And here's where the transformation starts compounding. After you do this every single morning, for days, for weeks, for months, you stop needing to be knocked down by life to wake up. You become proactive. Not perfect, not invincible, just rooted. You walk through storms with focus, through conflict with grace, through options with discernment. You don't live out of memory, you live out of mission. And that mission, believe it or not, gets reinforced in those first 10 minutes at sunrise when you choose to return to yourself first before the world gets a shot at you. But that choice, it always starts with you. You see, discipline doesn't begin with punishment. It begins with presence. The ability to slow life down for yourself just long enough to hear what needs to be heard, to understand what needs to be faced, and to declare which version of yourself is walking into today. Not the fearful one, not the fake one, not the programmed, exhausted, draining for approval version of yourself, but the one who knows what they carry, the one in alignment, in command, in clarity. And here's another thing I've learned through lived experience. It's not just about waking up earlier. It's about waking up truer, waking up to yourself. You can wake up at 4 a.m. and still be completely out of touch with your intention. You can journal, stretch, drink water, post about your routine, and still spiral into stress by noon. Why? Because it's not about the routine, it's about the relationship, the one you have with your inner world, the one you remember or neglect every single morning. The most powerful shift I ever made was going from how can I win the morning to how can I honor it. Win feels like war. Honor feels like worship. Honor feels like alignment. When I started approaching my mornings as sacred ground instead of something to conquer, everything changed. That space became not only the foundation for the day, but an invitation to stop living in survival mode. I no longer poured straight into work before pouring into myself. And the quality of my decisions, my creativity, my patience, my leadership, they didn't just improve, they evolved. Want to become a better parent? Start with quieter mornings. Want to be a better partner? Start by learning to hear your own voice. Want to create powerful content? Begin from wholeness, not pressure. Want to break through funk and stagnation? Begin your day like you have some say in how it unfolds, because you do. There's a deeper truth here. People don't change because their lives get easier. They change because their lives get clearer. And clarity starts the moment you decide that your mornings are non-negotiable. Not perfect, but protected. And still I want to acknowledge the resistance, because I feel it too. Some days I don't feel like it. I want to hit snooze. I don't want to sit in silence. I want to skip the reflection and dive into distraction. But I've learned to parent myself with love, not pressure. I remind myself gently. The greater version of me lives on the other side of this moment. If I show up to it, she'll meet me there. If I skip it, I'll feel scattered all day. Some mornings I write, some I pray, some I stretch. Some I just sit with my hand on my chest and thank God for breath and chances. Some mornings the routine goes out the window because life happens. But I always return, not for performance, but for alignment. Because alignment isn't a trend, it's a condition of the soul. And when your soul is settled, your reaction time slows. You're no longer triggered by everything. You're no longer drained by everyone. You stop trying to fix the world before you've even checked in with yourself. You don't let other people's chaos become your compass. You don't need external noise to validate your internal worth. You wake up ready, not because the path is easy, but because you're not surprised by who you are anymore. That's what owning your morning does. It reminds you before the world tries to redefine you. And the world will try. It will call you by your urgency. It will label you by your performance. It will seduce you with speed and distract you with noise. But you walk differently. You lead inward. You begin slowly because you carry deeply. You don't let the headlines lead your head. You don't leave the house without meeting yourself. Because you know, If I can just start strong on the inside, the world can throw what it wants, and I'll stay grounded through it all. This, to me, is what separates reactive living from intentional leadership. Not your income, not your job title, not your followers, but how you start your morning. Leaders meet themselves in the mirror before they meet the day. They choose their spirit before their spreadsheet, their breath before their brand, their truth before their tasks. Your morning is more than the start of a day, it's the start of another opportunity, another return, another lesson, another interaction with destiny. And if all you do, every single day, is start with 10 minutes of conscious, connected alignment, you'll tap into a future that's much closer than you think. You'll start showing up with consistency. You'll start executing without panic. You'll stop waiting for permission, clarity, validation, or a breakthrough moment. You'll realize that the future you're chasing begins with quiet decisions you make with your eyes still half open and the world still asleep. So I want to leave you with this. Tomorrow morning, before you pick up your phone, before you complain about another long day, before you start performing for a world that doesn't even know the weight you carry, stop. Close your eyes again. Bring your hand to your chest. Feel everything that's already working, the breath, the heartbeat, the rising sun. And ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to build with today? What kind of love do I want to protect today? What kind of story am I writing, not someday, but this morning? Then listen, not to the world, but to yourself, to God, to your intuition, to that quiet voice, the one that's been buried under years of being busy, but never truly lost. Lean in, honor it, and let it speak, until your life becomes a reflection of everything that voice has whispered to you, before you were ready, but right on time. Because you're not running anymore. You're remembering. Not just how to move, but how to live. And it all starts every day, every morning, with you.